If you told me at the start of the season, when the fixtures came out, that this would be a six-pointer in the race for Champions League football, I think many people would have struggled to believe you. Forest are sensational this season. I know they're struggling right now, but they're one of the stories of the season.
They are a terrific story, a terrific club with loads of history. Saw it there in the preamble. And Nuno Espirito Santos really put together a terrific side, defensive strength, creative flair in the midfield, pace in the wide areas. And in Chris Wood, one of the stories of the season, 11 goals in his last 9 games, I think it is. But this is a superb example of the way that they play. They're the only side to beat Liverpool at Anfield so far this season. They play to their strengths, balls in from the wide area so that they can make use of Chris Wood's ability in the air. And they've just been terrific all season. Tim.
I agree with you. I just think the manager's done a brilliant job. I mean, he just got run out of town when he was a Tottenham manager. He's gone away. And he decided to come back to Nottingham Forest, and they're allowing him to do it how he wants to do it. You know, at Tottenham, he's having to listen to the fans saying, no, we need to play a certain way. I mean, the Liverpool game is a great example of how he can adapt. You know, he sat in there, he was very dogged in the midfield area, and all of a sudden, late in the game, he changed it, brought on Alanga and Hudson-Odoi, and they showed more pace. He saw there was an opportunity to attack more in the second half. I think he needs all the credit. The manager, I think he really does. They have good players. They've been more solid at the back. Goalkeeper's been one of the finds of the season. I mean, he's been outstanding. He's been magnificent. I just think they've got very good players. They've not got world-class talent, but it just shows you what can happen when you get a team ethic and a work ethic, and you're all going in the same direction. And that's exactly what they have there at Nottingham Forest. And they're competitive. They've had a dip. I don't see them finishing in the top 4. I really don't. I just think they will move out of it now. But to move out of it into the Europa League positions would be still a massive achievement for that football club from where they've come from. Because at the beginning of the season, you would say they're one of the teams. All right, they wouldn't be one of the favourites, but they would be like 5th or 6th on the list to be around the relegation zone. I don't feel that way anymore. I think Marinakis needs to get some credit as well, the owner of that football club. The recruitment was a little bit scattergun approach at first. When he first went in there, they had more players than fans, you know, and now they've all of a sudden have decided that they're going to trust Nuno, trust the recruitment, and they've done brilliantly.
You mentioned Matt Sells there, obviously most clean sheets this season, remarkable from him. I want to look at the battle further up the pitch, though, because you've got 2 of the top 4 goal scorers in the league this season in Haaland versus Chris Wood.
Yeah, and they both are very different types of player, but both playing at the top of their game. I mean, that's a wonderfully timed lob, just to illustrate my point as far as Wood is concerned. I love this goal. Bottom right-hand corner. He does what you don't expect him to do. Lots of people, I think, don't give Haaland the credit he deserves. I know we're seeing goals from both players. What I'll do, I'll just talk about Haaland first, because he was a treble winner in his first season, won the Golden Boot last season, and still people kind of thought this was an underwhelming campaign for him, and he's still in the race for the Golden Boot. As far as Wood is concerned, he had difficult times at Everton, I think it was, and Newcastle, and loads of people kind of wrote him off. At his age, 33, and having signed a new contract as well because he's done so well, as I said earlier, it's one of the stories of the season.
When you say they don't give Haaland enough credit, you mean this season?
Yeah, I do. I just think that because City aren't doing that well, a lot of people say Haaland isn't doing that well. Because Haaland doesn't get as involved in the build-up play as a lot of people would like, a lot of people maybe don't give him the credit that they should. But he is one of the finest finishers on planet football. I think his composure in the final third is the reason why so many teams set up to deny him the ammunition, because they know if he gets it, he'll absolutely destroy you. But he is a generational talent.
Yeah, wild to say that because he's still second. He's 5 goals behind Salah in the race for the Golden Boot in the top scorers charts. But I suppose he's the architect of his own. He set his standard, basically, which is why people would say that about Haaland. What about, from a Manchester City point of view, Rodri? I know very excited for their fans to see pictures of him in training this week.
Yeah, it's encouraging. I'm not sure he's going to rush himself back. I think he's a very experienced player who knows what he needs to do. There's no need to rush him back. I think that's key. If they were in the Champions League and pushing high, you know, maybe a Champions League final at the end of the season, then he might feel like it's important to him to get back. I think the Club World Cup's going to be very important for him, and I think that might coincide very well. You know, he's going to be ready for that. I believe that. I'm not sure he will push himself for maybe play a couple of minutes at the end of the Premier League season.
Yeah.
And maybe see how it goes, but it's very encouraging for Man City fans to know that he'll be back next season.
You were a midfielder. Would you want to come back at the end of the season after such a difficult injury, or would you prefer to just have the break, come back, start next season, go into pre-season?
I would listen to the medics. I would listen to my body first and foremost, but then I always want to listen to them and just say, am I taking any sort of risk? If they told me I wasn't, then I would say, okay, I want to play. You know, it's soul destroying just sitting there and watching everyone else play, and especially when your team's not doing that well, and you're such an influential figure within that team. I think he'll play as soon as he possibly can, and I see him playing before the end of the season. I really do.
It feels like the urgency for his return has lessened slightly, and that's only down to Nico Gonzalez, right?
I love Nico Gonzalez. I think next season when he starts to play alongside Rodri, they're going to be the brick wall in front of the back four that is going to get City back to where they were. In his first game, he only lasted 22 minutes against Leyton Orient in the FA Cup. But since then, we've seen where the money's gone. £63 million. He's got a tactical awareness. He's good in the tackle. His distribution is impressive as well. And he looks like another really sound purchase by Manchester City. I think a big part of their revival is the fact that he's adapted to the side. Tim was telling you earlier in the show, good players adapt, and that's what he's been able to do. They've done their due diligence. Chika Bergeristan, who's played such a key role in bringing him to the club, has wanted to sign him since he was a teenager. They are big fans of this boy. Yeah. I think over the next couple of seasons, you're going to see exactly why.
Manchester City take on Nottingham Forest at the City Ground on Saturday in what looms as a pivotal Premier League fixture. Forest enters Saturday's fixture sitting third in the Premier League table. Pep Guardiola's side sit fourth, a point behind Nuno Espirito Santos' side. A win for either team could give them the initiative in the race to secure Champions League football for next season. Speaking ahead of tomorrow's fixture, Pep Guardiola was full of praise for Nottingham Forest. The Manchester City manager knows the test that awaits his team on Saturday. Speaking during his pre-game press conference ahead of the crucial Premier League fixture, Pep Guardiola gave his thoughts on Nuno Espirito Santos' side. The City manager explained that Forest is a quality team, as their league position shows. Speaking on Nottingham Forest, Guardiola said, when you are third in the table after 8-10 fixtures, okay. But when you are there with 11 games left and still you are third, it's because you have done really well. You cannot be there unless you have done good things. Impressive, I would say. They are really compact and aggressive on transitions. Pep Guardiola also singled out Nottingham Forest's attack as one of their most dangerous weapons. But he did add that they are a quality outfit all over the pitch. He added the four up front are really good and create many things. Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Wood, Gibbs-White, exceptional players, good keeper, experienced defenders. Fullbacks can play both sides. Physical team in the middle, Anderson is a top player as well. That's why they are third. Otherwise could not be there when you are playing the last part of the season. Across this season, we have seen Manchester City struggle against teams who have the pace to get in behind City's high defensive line. That is something that Nottingham Forest have in abundance out wide. With Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi on the wings, they could exploit any frailties in City's defence. You do sense that Pep Guardiola's side will need to control the midfield battle to nullify the threat that Nottingham Forest poses on the break. When you factor in the power and finishing of Chris Wood, you can see how Forest will look to get at Pep Guardiola's side. There is also Morgan Gibbs-White for City to contend with. The England international is a quality player on the ball and going forward. So Manchester City will have their hands full trying to contain the threat Nuno Espirito Santos' side possesses. For me, if Manchester City can control possession, that will give them their best chance for victory at the City ground. If they can do that, it will help nullify Forest's threat. Saturday's game may be a battle of contrasting styles at the City ground. You do sense that the team that can impose theirs will likely pick up all 3 points. Pep Guardiola has explained Forest's strengths, so it's up to his team to nullify them. If they do, they could pick up a victory that will be vital in the chase to secure Champions League football for next season. Nottingham Forest manager Nuno Espirito Santo says his players must expect a difficult game against Manchester City, but also keep feeling the joy of the moment as the Reds continue to challenge for Champions League spot. The Premier League tie, which takes the early kick-off slot on Saturday, March 8, has huge implications in the top 4 race in the league, with Forest sitting in third on 48 points, while City are 1 point behind in fourth. Despite the high stakes, Nuno reiterated in his pre-match press conference that the team will approach the game the same and make sure they enjoy the big occasion of hosting Pep Guardiola's side. We have to realize that we're going to play a very, very good team, a team that has been able to clearly dominate in the last years, a coach that has a big impact on the game, fantastic players, he said. It's the same approach, realizing how hard it's going to be, but with the joy of the moment. The reverse fixture on December 4, 2024 saw City run out 3-0 winners at the Etihad, but Nuno says the Reds being on home turf will give them the momentum needed to create the chance of a different result. The City ground has been helpful, the atmosphere is great and we expect that, as always, it will be nice to play there, he said. I honestly believe that the players feel comfortable, some of them are just anxious to play there, they enjoy it so much and that reflects on the performance of the team. Nuno added he expects the side City will arrive with on Saturday will be stronger than the one that the Reds faced in December, with new signings and returning players bolstering Pep's squad. It's going to be more difficult than it was before because all the teams have been suffering absences, and when the moment that players start returning they look better, so we expect it to be much harder, he added. It will be the second game that Forest have played this week, with the Reds previously defeating Ipswich Town 5-4 on penalties at the City ground on Monday, March 3 to advance to the FA Cup quarter-finals. Nuno reflected on the dramatic victory, speaking about the players' recovery and the celebrations following the match. They're still recovering, it was a good day, so we're recovering better, but we're still assessing players, he said. It was a beautiful moment for all of us as a group of people who work together, for our fans, going to the last penalty and Matt Sales making a huge save and making us go through was a beautiful moment. Goalkeeper Matt Sales has been around much of the talk surrounding Forest in the week, with the Belgian shot-stopper saving Ipswich's final penalty by Jack Taylor to send the Reds through, while also being awarded Player of the Match and Forest's Player of the Month for February. Talking about what has improved in Sales since arriving in Nottingham, Nuno said the confidence, the moment, the help of the team, it's more solid and compact, there's big improvement in our defensive shape and that reflects on all the team, but especially Matt Sales, is able to give us this confidence and is always there to give us a hand when has needed. When asked about Liverpool goalkeeper Alisson and whether he thinks the Brazilian is the best in the world between the sticks, Nuno replied with a smile, for me it's Matt Sales. Nottingham Forest manager Nuno Espirito Santo says his players must expect a difficult game against Manchester City, but also keep feeling the joy of the moment as the Reds continue to challenge for Champions League spot. The Premier League tie, which takes the early kick-off slot on Saturday, March 8, has huge implications in the top 4 race in the league, with Forest sitting in third on 48 points, while City are 1 point behind in fourth. Despite the high stakes, Nuno reiterated in his pre-match press conference that the team will approach the game the same and make sure they enjoy the big occasion of hosting Pep Guardiola's side. We have to realize that we're going to play a very, very good team, a team that has been able to clearly dominate in the last years, a coach that has a big impact on the game, fantastic players, he said. It's the same approach, realizing how hard it's going to be, but with the joy of the moment. The reverse fixture on December 4, 2024 saw City run out 3-0 winners at the Etihad, but Nuno says the Reds being on home turf will give them the momentum needed to create the chance of a different result. The City ground has been helpful, the atmosphere is great and we expect that, as always, it will be nice to play there, he said. I honestly believe that the players feel comfortable, some of them are just anxious to play there, they enjoy it so much and that reflects on the performance of the team. Nuno added he expects the side City will arrive with on Saturday will be stronger than the one that the Reds faced in December, with new signings and returning players bolstering Pep's squad. It's going to be more difficult than it was before because all the teams have been suffering absences, and when the moment that players start returning they look better, so we expect it to be much harder, he added. It will be the second game that Forest have played this week, with the Reds previously defeating Ipswich Town 5-4 on penalties at the City Ground on Monday, March 3 to advance to the FA Cup quarter-finals. Nuno reflected on the dramatic victory, speaking about the players' recovery and the celebrations following the match. They're still recovering, it was a good day, so we're recovering better, but we're still assessing players, he said. It was a beautiful moment for all of us as a group of people who work together, for our fans,